Yeah, that was dope. I almost forgot about that, right? But welcome to Date to Marry. I am Keith Scurry, the founder and the visionary of our platform. I'm a coach, a licensed financial expert. I'm a licensed minister. I'm a published author. I'm a rapper. I'm an entertainer. I'm a business coach. I'm a sales trainer. I'm a serial entrepreneur, college educated. And one of our main goals with Date to Marry is to talk about love, relationships, life, marriage, compatibility, friendship. Although I'm young, I still believe in traditional love. I still believe in old school values, and I think that's one of the some of the main things we're going to talk about today, right? And so we have some lovely ladies with us today, and I'm actually going to introduce them. Actually, I'll have you introduce yourself. You can just start with your name, your occupation, and your relationship status. So we can start with Tammy.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Tammy. I am relationship status married. And what was the other question, Keith?
You do your business. What do you promote?
Oh, my business. I am a hairstylist, as you may be able to see, down in Sarasota, Florida.
Awesome. And then Kristen,
Thank you.
your audio,
I
Kristen,
am
is we can't hear you.
I'm Kristen, a serial entrepreneur, photographer. I am divorced and dating.
Divorced and dating. Okay. And so we also have two additional guests. They was having technical difficulties with the camera, so they'll be on in a few. But I'm gonna get right into it. So the format is going to be just a conversation, right? I know we got people watching, but I want to talk to y'all, right? And please, as I'm learning and listening, just try to be as honest as possible with the questions, which I believe you absolutely will. And then just be who you are and answer according to your truth, right? So, Tammy, right? You said you were married, right? Now, one of the
Mhm.
questions I have for you is, why did you get married?
I got married because I knew, because I kind of grew up seeing that, and I saw the bond. So my parents, my dad and my mother, are not married, but
Okay,
my father went on and married, and the relationship between the two of them was just beautiful. The way he looked at her, the way she looked at him, and I just grew up seeing that, and I wanted that.
got it. And so, a question around that: what's so special about marriage that you couldn't get from just being in a relationship? Like, what's so important about marriage that you just had to get married? Why couldn't you get those same benefits without being married?
Well, for me, as a woman who grew up around the faith, Christian
Okay.
woman, there were boundaries that were not supposed to be crossed when you're just dating, boyfriend, girlfriend. Um, and so when I met my husband, I knew I wanted to go a step further with him. And I saw myself with him for the rest of my life, and he saw the same thing. So we made it happen.
Got it. And would you say that you got married for religious, like your religious ideology, or is that something that you feel like you desire for yourself outside of your religion? Because a lot of people do that. A lot of people say, "Well, I'm a Christian. I'm supposed to get married."
Yeah,
Then we married the wrong person. So what would you say?
yeah. Um, I didn't get married because I'm a Christian. I got married because I found my man. And I knew that since I found him and he found me,
Hmm.
um, it was just natural. It was just natural because that's how God intended it to be. And
Right.
so then we took that next step. But it wasn't because I'm a Christian. I didn't get married, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm supposed to be married. No, that wasn't in my mind.
Got it.
Hmm.
Okay. And so now, Kristen, a question for you because you said that you were divorced. So I could imagine at one point in time, and I believe that you subscribe to Christianity as well. I could imagine at one point in time, you would probably have said the same thing that Tammy is saying, right? And so, what was some of the reasons why you felt like divorce was for you, or why did you make that choice and that decision to get divorced?
For one, I don't think anybody should get married in their 20s ever. You have no idea who you are. No idea what it's possible for people to get married in their 20s and stay married, but there's a lot of growing that has to be done, and I just don't think either of us were ready to do that.
Okay, so you were saying you got married young and you did not know what you were signing up for. Got it. And was that a painful experience?
In retrospect, I think that I knew what I was signing up for. But unlike Tammy, I grew up very conservative Christian. We were AME, which is, everybody knows, real old school and traditional. And
okay,
it kind of to a point where we would go around Kyle first, and it kind of got to a point where we would go around family, and it was, so when y'all get married, you might as well get married. It kind of got to that, and we just gave in, like, hey, well, we might.
Got it. I think your audio is breaking up a little bit. Okay, and so you kind of cut out at the end of what you were saying, but I got the gist of it, right? So now, Chris, let me ask you this, right? So you said you were divorced and you're now dating, correct? And so in your dating experience, what is as a Christian woman, I'm gonna ask you, what is your position on sex before marriage? Like, what's your attitude about that, your perspective?
I definitely have sex. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. It's a little choppy, right? But we can hear you.
I don't know what it's about, because I know there's a lag also, because you're a long time after I finish talking. But
Right.
I definitely do have sex. It's one of the things that's just worldly about me. I just say that, if we just gonna be honest.
Well, I wouldn't say worldly. I think we're naturally sexual beings, right? God didn't design us not to get horny or not to want sex, right? So I wouldn't say that's a worldly thing, right? This is my question though, right? So me as a man, if me and you are dating, or let me ask this: is it a relationship or is it dating?
It depends, because there's a line. Now, if we don't actually say the words that we are in a relationship, then we are not committed to one another. But if I am dating, I am trying to find a person that I do want to be in a relationship with or marry. So there is a line, but you have to say the words. You can't just assume we are in a relationship.
So with the person you're with now,
if we have not said those words, I am not committed.
Okay. So the person you with now, is it a relationship or is it dating? Like, which is it? Did he say the words?
Now, relationship.
Okay, now it's a relationship. Okay, got it. All right.
We are committed to each other.
Oh, okay. And
generally speaking, in the dating.
Yeah, it's breaking up. It's breaking up bad, right? And so it's just breaking up a little bad, right? I do got one more question, and then I got a question for you, Tammy. So from a man perspective, right? Let's say, Kristen, if me and you are dating, right? And again, I'm going to be as honest as I can. So from a man's perspective, if I'm dating you or in a relationship with you, and if I'm having sex with you, if you're doing wifely things to me, if you submitting to me, if I'm getting what I want from you sexually, then what reason do I have to marry you? Like, why should I marry you if I get everything that I can get from you in a relationship? And so I think Kristen kind of cut out. And so Tay, can you bring Tay on? Tay,
Hello.
so welcome, Tay. I know you was having difficulties, and so the question that I asked Kristen, I'm going to ask you. You can just jump right in this conversation format. And and I think you heard the question. The question was, if we're in a relationship and I'm not, I'm not married to you. If I'm having sex with you, if we're having sex and I'm getting everything from you, right? Then what reason should I marry you? Like, what can I get from you in a marriage that I can't get from you in a relationship or a situationship?
I think that you don't give everything to your mate. So there's still a lot of things that you guys can explore in the marriage too that you may not have explored during your dating time together.
Okay, so I think all right. Okay, so I think that's a safe answer, but like what? Like what would as a woman, right? And I don't know. Well, let me ask you this question. What is your stance on sex before marriage or premarital sex? Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not against it. So
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
I'm
All
not
right.
obviously I'm not a virgin, so
Right. And are you in a relationship now or no? Because we didn't.
no,
Because we
I'm
okay,
not.
got it. Okay. So if we're dating, right, or we get into a relationship, what will you hold back from me that I can get in marriage that I can't get from you, just from being a good person and meeting all your needs?
um, I guess for me personally, there's a lot to explore within sex. The sex is not just linear. There's so many different aspects of sex that you can explore with your partner. Depending on, for me, it would depend on the level of commitment. So, if I'm married to him, then we might explore a lot of things that I'm not going to explore with someone that I'm casually dating or having sex with.
Okay, so you saying the freak will be reserved for marriage,
Yeah,
but you're going to still give a certain freak in relationship.
there's a level of freakness there.
Okay. And so now, and this is why I'm asking this, because, one of the motivations that I have, especially for men, right? I want to encourage, like me, I'm not perfect at all, but I strive to practice celibacy, right? Not
Mhm.
perfect by a long shot. And, but the thing is because, it's multiple reasons, but my thinking for a woman, and it's how we feel, if you're willing to have sex with me now, then you have no leverage, right? Like if you're gonna spend money on me, I'm gonna spend money on you. Like we're gonna have fun, enjoy our time. You want to fall in love. You might even say, right? Well, I'm gonna be a freak later, but the right partner, it kind of brings that out.
Mm.
And so, do you feel, although you are an advocate, right, and although you believe in sex and as before marriage, do you feel like you're losing leverage in terms of what you really want when you're giving or when you're having sex prior to marriage?
I don't think so.
And why do you say that?
Like I said, there's a lot that goes into a relationship. Sex is just one part.
Okay. And so now, do you mind these questions? Because I know my questions is challenging. I want
No.
to make sure. So now let me ask you. So I'll ask you, Tammy. I'll take it to you. Right. Let me ask you a question, Tammy. In although you're married and you say that's you marry him not because of religion, you marry him because you found your man. If he cheated on
Right.
you, would you leave him?
Uh, I don't know. I can't say yes. I can't say no. Um, because I mean, it depends. It really does depend. It depends on a lot of different things. Cheating it can just be a sexual thing with a man, is what I've learned. But it could also, like, if he's all the way checked out and he's like a full on relationship, another kid somewhere, like a whole different person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a completely different scenario. I just know men are very sexual creatures, and they're wired a lot differently than women are. And I don't want to say you should forgive your husband if he cheats on you. But have freedom to do whatever you choose to do. You can leave, you can stay. Um, but I mean, if you can work through it. You can work through it. It depends on him. It depends on if he has changed and if he's willing to, and if he's honestly apologetic. And you know, it just depends on so many different things.
So you're basically saying that just because your husband cheats on you, it's not an automatic cancellation. Like, I'm just done with you.
Me, no. I'm not saying I wish that on me or anybody.
Right.
But I know good people do bad things sometimes, you know, and women, let me tell you something. Women are so tempting these days. There's Instagram, there's everything, and they're showing everything, and it's just a different day and age. And I'm not saying give him a pass, but the
Right.
temptation, you know, you know, you can do a lot of counseling and you learn these things. Like, there's a lot of temptation, and men don't think like up here. You know, they
Right.
don't think with their brains oftentimes. And so, you know, you just have to consider a lot of things. And like for me, I have children, I have a house, you know, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
things that I can't just say peace out.
Right. And
Yeah.
so now, and I think that's interesting because some women would say, "Oh, that's stupid," right? Or
Yeah.
"That's retarded," right? Or "Yeah,
Yeah.
right." So would you
Yeah.
say that that's stupid, or is that unconditional love? What would you say that way of thinking is?
Um, I would say it's not stupid. I would say that's y'all business. As a man, as a husband and a wife, that y'all do what y'all need to do, because every relationship is different. And if y'all are both
Right.
working at it, y'all are going to counseling, you know, through your church, and you have honestly seen a change in your husband, um, you know, I I don't know. Everybody's different. And so I
Right.
know some women would say she's stupid for forgiving her husband for something like that, but it's a lot of single people out here too. You know
Got
what
it.
I'm saying? Like, a lot of men cheat. A lot of women cheat too. So I don't know. A lot
That's
of women cheat.
it sound like you saying, I'm, you know, yeah, but I
Say it.
understand that. Nah, it just sounds like you saying, listen, if you cheat, I can cheat better. That's what it sounds
Oh
like.
no, no, I'm not saying that.
Okay,
I don't play that game. No, I don't play
okay,
that
okay,
game. No, I
right,
wasn't saying that at all. I'm just saying a lot of people cheat, not just men. Women can do
right,
it too. That's not my game,
absolutely.
but yeah.
And so now, Ty, and you can bring everybody on, right? Now, Ty, let me ask you this.
Yes.
And so, do you share the same attitude? Like, do you, because you're single, right? Do you
Yes.
expect for a man to never cheat and be loyal, like forever?
So I feel like a woman is single or a man is single until they marry. If you're engaged, you're single. If you're dating,
Okay,
you're single. If you live in with a man or vice versa, and you all are not legally married, technically you're single.
and what is that when you say you're single? What does that mean? Because single means something different to everybody,
It
right? Does
does
that
to
so? What is that? What does your single mean to you? What do you mean by that?
that I'm able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. I don't have to report to you. You don't have to report to me. Now, I didn't always feel like this, but
Okay.
In my later years, after being in a long-term relationship with my son's father and going through the rigmarole and all that, I'm single. I'm single if I'm dating you. I'm single if you're just my boyfriend. You're not my husband. I am single, and I am going to do what I want to do.
Okay, so to you, Ty, that also means don't ask, don't tell, basically, right? Like if we're dating, or if we're in a relationship, but I didn't propose to you, that means that that you're still single and I'm still single. I don't know if you broke up or not. Are you there? Yeah, she froze. And then also, Kristen, I saw you shaking your head like I agree with you. Do you? Kristen, like, yeah, I agree with what she's saying. So is that true? Do you share? And Ty, you're kind of broke up. It's froze, right? So did it unfreeze? Nah, it's still froze. And so, Kristen, do you share that philosophy with Ty?
For
Yeah, y'all.
you know, it I have committed. I would feel bad about that morally, even if someone relationship with, but I do believe you are. If we are single, if we are not married, I do really essentially believe in don't ask me no questions, and I'm not asking you no questions.
In the military.
You said period. You forgot the
I
poop.
mean-
You forgot the poop. Period.
Mariana Pooh.
Now, that's and so now, Tay, right? So, as a single woman, just and to help all of you understand from a man's perspective, whether or not you think it's fair, this is how men think. So, men, we judge you and evaluate your worth, your worthiness, or the degree at which you deserve loyalty by how you behave while you're single. Right. And so so that's how men are, right? And I think, and before I say what I think, I'll say it again. So the way men are, we evaluate and we assess the degree of loyalty that we feel like we're going to give you or that you qualify for based on how you conduct yourself while you're single. Right. And so Kristen, I know you wanted to chime in. So what's your thoughts about that?
I think, okay, so where we get tangled up right here is that so many men at my age do still assume that everyone's dream is to be married and that's it. And the whole life is revolving around that, like we were taught in the church. And that's not, it's like it's a little different now. It's like we're not harlots necessarily, we're not Jezebels, but we also feel like, hey, our grandmothers gave everything for their marriages. Our aunts and whoever, godmothers, all of the matriarchs gave every part of their life for their marriages. And we watched a lot of them walk away with nothing, with little side stepchildren and with little side babies and other women that were the actual harlots having sex with their husband. We watched all of this stuff happen and them walk away with nothing, stressed. And a lot of single women at my age, we're not doing that anymore. We're not interested. We're not interested anymore. So we don't care if a lot of men judge us based on that. We just don't care.
Okay, and so, and I want you to, and that's a great point. And Ty, you can chime in on this, right? So, I want to challenge too, Kristen. I want to challenge your perspective. First, I value and I appreciate that perspective, right? Because as a man, it's important for me to understand the information or the experiences that go into why you make the decision you make as a woman. because it's easy to look at somebody and say, oh, they this and they that, but it's why, right? It can be fear of hurt, fear of betrayal, fear of abandonment, right? Fear of losing out, right? I mean, it's so many things, because that's what you're saying. You're saying what you're communicating. You might not identify it that way, but what you're expressing is a fear. You're saying, I fear that happening to me, so I'm going to make a different decision. So I respect that. Statistically, though, like statistically, like when you just research Black demographics, and when you look at the marriage and the divorce percentages, traditionally 60 to 75% of divorces are filed by the woman, right? So, and that's traditionally from the 60s up until now. And we can talk about why that is, right? And what has happened. But when you say that our grandmothers were left with nothing, for statistically wise, that's not true. They were maybe hurt in relationships, which is a part of the experience, but 60 to 75% statistically of divorces traditionally are filed by the woman in the marriage. And now, what do you think about that?
Well, for one, I mean, they are filing the divorces because they are not happy. And I already discussed the side babies, the cheating, the all of those things are possible. But my main thing, this is gonna sound crazy, but I feel like I'm at a stage in my life where I am healed. And I feel like when I was 25 and trying to get married, I thought I had to be this certain person that my person be. And at this picture in his mind that I was this good Christian girl that would submit, that would play my gender, do all the gender role that a woman is supposed to do. Is a man gets bored with that and he cheats on her with these other women that we're talking about that are free and kind of doing everything for themselves and selfish and in that place where they may not be healed. So at the age where I am now, I don't want nobody's husband, but I do feel like I'm in a place where it's like, hey, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna be the person that I want to be first and foremost. And the man that likes who I am, I would much rather have him than the man that thinks that I'm this good, wholesome Christian woman that he could just drag through the mud. So the part where you said like, hey, it's a fear, is like that may be true for a lot of women, but I think that I'm at a place in my life where, I'm finally healed, and that is not my fear. That's just not my fear. Right. Now is the first time I've been divorced for this year will be 6 years. And this is the first time that I have felt like, okay, I'm gonna be okay with getting married again to this person, because from the jump, I was the person ever.
Got it. Okay. And I understand that. And I respect your
to take home to your mom.
Got it. And I respect that. One of the things is, again, my objective is not to disagree with you or change your mind. I want to understand women better. And as men, I want you guys to understand us better. Now, Ty, right? Your phone kind of cut off earlier. I know your service hating on you, right? It's hating on you. But I really want to hear. I'm interested in your position, right? And so the response that Kristen chimed in on is I was telling you and sharing with you as women how we judge and evaluate and assess our degree of loyalty, right? And so with you, Ty, so when you say that, in a relationship, I'm still single unless I'm engaged or married, you were saying that means married. Unless you're married. So not even engaged.
Not even engaged. I'm still considered single.
And so that means if me and you are dating and I propose to you and you accept, we got a date for a year out. That means you can still, based on what you're saying, you can still deal intimately with other men while I'm engaged to you.
I probably shouldn't, but I'm not legally tied to you. And if I chose to do that because maybe I'm not feeling something about the engagement or something, that's on me. That's not on him. That's on me. But that's
Got it.
just my
Okay.
take on it. And I like on a lot of what Kristen just spoke on. I absolutely agree.
Okay.
Now, if I were to get married now to someone, I would be okay with it because I am the person that I want to be. I'm not gonna sugarcoat and prop myself up and soften myself up for him and his family and make it seem like I'm just this wholesome Christian girl. Yes, I am a church girl. I am a Christian girl, but I'm also human. So I do human things. I make mistakes. I do things that are not favorable to God, and I pray and ask for forgiveness.
Got it. You know, and listen, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency again because I'm learning and I get to hear your positioning. I'll also share with you in truth. And so, you know, from a man's perspective, if that's the philosophy, right, that guides your relationship behavior and decisions, then what kind of man do you actually want? Like when you think of the kind of man that you want, or the kind of man that you eventually want to marry, or I don't know if you do want to marry, what is the caliber or quality or some of the characteristics? Like what degree of man do you actually want for yourself?
For myself, I do want someone that is a God-fearing man. I don't want someone with a slew of children, but I know at my age, a man is going to come with a child or two.
Okay.
I would like for him to have his own things. I don't want us to be unequally yoked where I'm bringing more to the table than him. And my issue now is a lot of the guys that I've run into or I've dated, I feel like they're looking for me to say, oh, you're such a great guy. Oh, your mother did a wonderful job in raising you. Okay, maybe she did, but I also don't feel like I got to just, sweet talk you and tell you this all the time. I'm, hey, you're a great guy. You're doing a good job, but that's not something I'm going to tell you all the time to try to prop you up and boost your ego. If your mother didn't boost your ego when you were growing up, I don't feel like it's my place to continue to boost your ego throughout this whole, relationship.
What if that's his love language, Ty?
Well, if that's his love language and that's not mine, maybe if we're not compatible. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that and I'm accepting of that. And I will say myself, I think that I'm a very hard lady to date.
Got it. And one more question before we get to I got a question for you, Tay, right? So one more question with you, Ty. So
Yes.
when you say at my age, they might come with a child or two. How old are you when you say at my age?
I'm 41.
Okay, and you're single now, correct? Or you're single?
Yes, I'm single.
So
I'm not married,
so my
I'm single.
question is, and this is an honest question. My question is, at the age of 41, and you want a man, you want a God-fearing man, the characteristics, the things that you just described. At 41, why are you single right now?
Maybe because it could potentially be me, the way that I am. And not that I have not been asked to be married a time or two. Not that I haven't dated or dating. I date all the time. I have no issues attracting the opposite sex whatsoever.
Right.
And
no, absolutely.
a lot of the guys that I talk to be like, you're marriage material. Am I really? But once they get to know me, they're like, ooh. And I think that maybe I'm a little mean and I'm
Okay.
straightforward. In my relationships, I'm very, very straightforward. I'm a very loving and giving person, but I'm very, very straightforward. And what I've run into is a lot of the guys, they come out and they're not truthful of their situations and things that they have going on. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're lying to me in the very beginning, and when I find that out, I start treating you different. I start treating you like the liar that you are.
Right.
And I may run them off. And again, that's just a characteristic that I possess, and I've really always been this way.
Absolutely. No, and I understand that. And again, you know, the most important thing, because you know, y'all see my stylist, I'm taking notes, I'm learning, I'm listening, right? Because people are watching, so I think it's important to really hear the mindset. Now, Tay, right? Going when you listen to what the ladies are saying, right? My question for you is why? Because you're not in a relationship, correct?
No.
So I know no woman is the same, although men and women can have the same type of thought processes, philosophies, and share similar experiences. But at your age, why are you single?
I just don't think before I knew what I wanted really. Cause like Ty, I've been asked to be married before too. But it didn't work out. So now that I know what I want, and the people who do come into my life or try to come into my life, they don't fit that mold, so it doesn't work out. And that's
Got it.
okay.
Okay, so no, and it is okay. So I'm gonna ask Kristen, Ty, and Tay a question, and then I got a question for you, Tammy. Right, being married, right? So, as women, do you fit? And Kristen, you mentioned this. You touched on this a little bit. I was listening because I thought you was gonna go in more because I wanted to learn your perspective. But do you think that marriage and being with the person who God created for you, is that the ultimate goal for you as women, or are there business, money, career things that you value greater than love? Like, what is it? And y'all can answer in any order. It don't matter to me.
My
So,
main oh, go ahead.
so it, my perspective of that is, um, I do value my career. I have a 19-year-old son, and
Okay.
that type of stuff matters to me. My son still lives at home. He's a college student. So
Mm-hmm.
me dating right now and marrying it's different for me because one, me dating, I'm not real fond of bringing men to my home. Once my son's father and I went our separate ways, I didn't bring guys into my son's life until he was much older. But
Mm-hmm.
however, I made a pact to my son when he was 9 or 10 years old, after we were healing from his father and I going our separate ways, that I promised to not marry until I get you off to college. That was an agreement that I made with my son. Now he's a college student, so if I chose to get married, it would be cool. But he laughed all the time and say, "You really held true to that." Yes, I did. Because I don't want to bring a man in my house that I'm going to have to choose between you and my son, because my son is going to
Mm-hmm.
win. I'm
Okay.
never going to choose between my son and a man.
Okay.
That's mine. And I'm willing to walk away from you behind mine.
I understand that. And then Kristen and Tay, same
So
question.
for me, marriage isn't like the
Go ahead,
pinnacle of
Trey.
my life. At the end of the day, I have to be confident and comfortable with who I am. So I think that a partner is somebody who adds to your life. They're not my life. They're not going to be who I am. So no, I don't think that it's the end all be all if I'm not married or not.
And then same question to you, Kristen. What's your thought on that?
So the here is that I have been married before, so you know, I don't want to call it scratch, but this is the first time in my life where I feel like I am a whole person by myself. So if I do not ever get married again, I will be okay with that. Um, I do like companionship. I do like travel buddies. I do like, you know, all of those things. And I would like to get married again. Um, I'm not going to die of depression if I don't, though.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And then So now, Tammy, let me ask you this, Tammy, right? As a married woman, you know, I know you have your business, you got your family, you know, you make money, and you would you say that your marriage is the most important thing to you in your entire life, like the relationship, the bond, the commitment? I mean, outside of God, outside of your relationship with God, would you say that your marriage defines you in some ways, or is he the most important thing to you, or are there other things to you that are more important than him?
Well, outside of God, no, he is the most important thing to me because that's my foundation. That's my rock. And I mean, from there we made babies, and we've done everything from there. So, yeah, he is the most important thing. To me, he is.
To you. And so that means that for you,
Mhm.
your marriage, you would say, because the marriage is just the definition of the relationship, right? So for you, you would say
Right.
that that is your pinnacle. Like, again, outside of God and who your marriage is founded on, you would say he is the most important thing to you, and that is your pinnacle. Like that is your
Yeah. Yeah, because you can do all these things with your husband. You can travel, you can do all of these things and grow and run businesses if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean, that's my rock, that's my foundation. So I'm not saying without him, like if I lose him, I just lose myself. I'm not saying that. I think it takes two whole persons to be
Mhm.
to be one marriage. Um, but when you get married as a Christian, you become one flesh, and so
Right.
he is me. He and I are the same. We're one. So
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, and that's interesting, right? Because it's important to hear different perspectives, and one perspective doesn't make you or different, or it makes all of you are different, but it doesn't mean you're more
Hmm.
valuable than the other, right? I think
Right.
because value is largely based on experience. And so, like, for example, when you hear Kristen, she was, I was married before and we was married young, and
Hmm.
her experience would be like, this is when she said this is the first time I felt like whole as an
Hmm.
individual. That was very
Yeah.
powerful to me, right? Because she
Yeah.
was saying my marital experiences was I lost myself and I was hurt
Mm.
in that process and I didn't know who I was. I mean, you didn't say that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? But I'm just saying, when you say this is the first time in my life, right? When you say this is the first time in my life where I felt whole as a person, that resonate with me. That's liberty. That's empowering. And it's not that marriage was never important to you, because you it was at one point, but it sounds and seems like it was so traumatic that you're saying, if I have to choose between my wholeness and my completeness and experiencing that again, I would choose to be single 1,000% of the time. And that's why it's so important for me to listen to you guys. And I'm really taking notes for real. I'm like, okay, that's because it's not just putting my perspective on you. And I think, because we're going to talk about communication in a second, but I think as men, we feel like, okay, because we're stronger, because y'all know us, we think we know what we know, we think and so, but one of the things is it's difficult sometimes for us to listen and to learn and hear. We kind of just want to listen to just change. Oh, I hear what you're saying, but what about this, right? And that's not something that I want to accomplish. So I do appreciate that experience, Tammy. Kristen, I value your experience and impact. Ty, I see you put in the chat, you said, I don't know if you've been posted that because it just popped up. You said that you have something else to say about this topic, right? Was that back like a little while ago?
It was a little while ago, but it looks like she got booted off again.
Yeah, her server's hating. Is just hating on us, right? I don't know. But we'll continue. So now this is something interesting, right? And I have an observation, and I want to share this with you guys as women from a male perspective, and I want to get your honest feedback, right? So it seemed like men, okay, men. I would assume that if I said, "What's a real man?" If I asked you as individuals, married, relationship, and single, if I said, "What's a real man?" you might say a lot of different words, but you might say a leader, a provider, and a protector, right? So I'm sure you would kind of, and there could be some other things, but those are the main three things that I think, from my experience, that most women attribute to what a real man is. Then, and it can kind of be surmised to just like those three things. But if we ask what a real woman is, it's almost like it's left up to interpretation based on how each woman feels on the value that she chooses to display for herself. So I know I know the topic of double standards is huge, but from observation, it would seem like that women essentially reduce men to a role: leader, provider, protector, right? And then, not only does it seem like men are reduced to a role of leader, provider, and protector, but it's almost like our value as men can only be discovered in what we do for you. Because like, lead who? Provide for who? And then protect what? So it's like our definition as men in every race, every culture across the world, our identity is tied into what we can do for you: lead you, provide for you, and protect you. And we don't run from that. We embrace that. Even toxic men want to be better leaders. They want to be better providers. They want to protect you, just in a narcissistic way, right? But we still take pride in that identity and we embrace it. I just want you to understand that your perception of us, based on this conversation and multiple conversations, is that our only value is who we are to you. Now, with that being said, how is it mutual? Like, if I ask you guys, like, and I've asked you some of your values, what's important to you, now other than the exception of Tammy, she was saying he is my rock, he my everything, right? But with Ty and Kristen, right, and then Tay, you're saying that my identity, I'm unsubscribing from the identity that comes with male servitude, and I'm subscribing to whatever I choose. And I still want to be valuable, and I still want a man to love me. How is that fair? How does that work? And is that right? Am I right in the way I'm articulating it? Am I wrong? And do you think, if that's the thought process, that if you choose to identify and establish value outside of male relationship, do you think you'll ever have the kind of man that you actually want? Like, what are your thoughts about that? And you can answer in any order. It doesn't matter. I know that was a lot, but I'm observing, I'm listening. So how about Tay, you go first?
Yes, I think we can still have the men that we want. So from what I surmised from what you just said, you're saying that essentially kind of we're selfish a little bit.
I would say selfish can be a word to describe that philosophy, although I realize that the intent is preservation and love, right? So I'm real big on not labeling, not because I want to be politically correct, but because I understand sometimes our intent and our philosophy is two different things, but it can be a selfish way of thinking or a philosophy. So that's, I would say essentially to say yes to that.
Okay. I think that even though we're single and we do a lot of things, I think that we can still be one-minded with a man when we do join with that person, even though we're trying to be our whole self by ourselves. Because what if that person does not come along? That's my thought process about that. But women, we can be caring, we can be charismatic, we can be loving, we can take care of the home. We can do all of those things and join our lives with a man too. Even though we're single, we still do those things.
Got it. And then Ty, you keep getting, I really want to talk to Ty because she got that, but it's your server's hating on us, right? So, but Kristen, what do you think about that? What I just described? What's your feelings about that? You're muted, by the way. Your audio is off, Kristen, just so you know. Your audio is off, Kristen, just so you
Had me
know.
muted. You hear me now?
Okay. We can hear you.
Um, I feel okay. I'm not by any means an expert in the matter, but I don't remember God ever telling a woman to love her husband at all. The love life, but he never said that we love them. So this protector provider role is what y'all are made for. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I have bent on that a lot in dating. I feel like I was looking for the wrong things a lot in dating. I thought I was looking for this alpha male and didn't even really know what that was. You know what I mean? Like I was confusing alpha with aggressive and some kind of way trying to figure out where I got that messed up. But I do feel like I have found a person that I can be whole with and can be whole by himself. And we could be two whole people, not a 50-50 situation, but like 100 situation. When we get tired of each other, we could give each other space. When we want to be together, we could be together. When we want to, I don't think it's reduced down to protecting and providing, because I do feel like I've had to do all those things for me and my children myself all of this time. I feel like I have done a very good job of protecting me and them. I feel like I've done a very good job of waiting for myself and them. I don't want to reduce someone down to that. But I've done the thing before where I expected man to be. I'm not really interested in doing that again. I'm at a point where I feel like I can make a better decision in finding that person. And it has been 6 years because I'm healed and whole enough to not just accept a warm body because it's a warm body. I'm not doing that. You know, like I have kids to, again, protect. So if you're not all the way where we need to be, like I'm sorry. I'll like you said, I'll be single 1,000%
Right.
before I just put somebody to have a warm body around.
Got it. And I appreciate, your perspective on that. I think although the issue, it's still exists, right? And I want to ask this question to Ty, right? Ty, I know you back right now, so I know your service is still hating, so I gotta get you why it's good. And so all of you, from just hearing and what you're saying, you say I'm God-fearing, I'm a Christian, right? And I always wonder, and I'm going to ask Ty, I'm going to ask you directly, but this is also a question for all of you. If Ty cuts out again, like she just did, and then one of you guys can answer it. But if God is as important to you as you say, right? If your relationship with God and Him blessing you, if that's important to you for your own self, not put on you because you came up in it, not because your mom a preacher, or just because that's important to you, then why and you might, I haven't heard it yet, but why either don't you or women, why don't you require or you really search for godly character in men, right? Why is the man's relationship with God and his conviction and his beliefs and his living in his purpose of God, why aren't those, as Christian women, why aren't those like the highest things on your list? Or are they? And Tay, we can start with you, Tay.
That is at the top of my list. But I find right now, the culture and the climate that we're in, a lot of men will say, I'm spiritual, or they're agnostic, or they don't believe in a higher being. A lot of men these days are that way. I go to church every Sunday. I promise you, there's not a single man in my church. Not a single one. Even when I go to a small church now, but I used to go to a mega church. Even still, there was hardly any single straight men at the church. Either they were in a marriage or they were homosexual. So it's very, 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 very hard to find that type of man these days.
I understand. And so with that said, Ty, would you say that, and this is again a question for all of you, the men that you are dating, have dated, or in a relationship with, do you compromise what you really want for who's available?
Absolutely
And you
not.
could, okay. And why do you, and what do you mean by that, Ty? Your audio, you're muted again, just so you know. Hey Ty, you're muted, Ty, just so you know. Yeah, we can't hear you, Ty. Can we make sure that Ty is not muted?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So no, I'm not. Your question was, am I willing to compromise?
Like, do you, if you know what you want, right? Because you listed some characteristics and you said this kind of man I want. And when you deal with men who's not that, is that compromising? And if so, why do you compromise?
I don't compromise anymore. I don't compromise anymore because me compromising is probably part of the reason that I may still potentially be single at this time, because I did some compromising in some previous dating, some years back. So no, I'm not willing to compromise anymore at all. And if I'm with someone and he feels that he has to compromise to fit the mold of the man that I want, then that's not the man for me. Because when things erupt, you're gonna be your authentic self. You're not gonna be that person who's played that facade for me, and I don't want that.
Got it. And so, is the man, or is having a man who is active in his purpose, godly or Christian values or characteristics, like a godly character, is his relationship, a man who has a real relationship with God, is that a requirement for you, or is that something that you would just like to have if it's there?
So okay. I've dated a guy who he told me that, hey, I really used to be into the word and this and that. I don't believe in God anymore, but I do believe in a higher being. We're friends.
Okay.
I do want someone that is godly, that believes in God, and that does, present godly principles. That is something that I want. So am I willing to date a guy if our religions are, we're of two totally different religions? Yeah, because there are going to be things that he may expect from me that in my Christian beliefs or my religion, I'm not for. And he's with it. So that's not going to work for me. I'm not willing to compromise. Again,
right.
Maybe when I was younger, I may have, and I'm sure I did on multiple occasions. But at this point in my life, absolutely not.
Right. And that's why I'm asking these questions, because as Black women, right? I really want your stance on this. Why? Because, when people break up, right, from my experience, few people, male and female, but today it's just a panel of women, but so few women will take responsibility and say it was because I was toxic, I was unhealthy. For this, most people would say it was because of him, what he did and how he was, and he cheated, he was a liar, etc. So my question is, why do women choose to date broken men to fix and build them up, then blame them when they remain broken?
So
Why is
you
that?
have you have to date them to find out that they're broken and not about nothing. So
Well,
once we find that out, but you may not find that out till 6 months to a year to 2 years out, and now you dated this toxic person, and it may be a little more difficult to let them go. I mean, I can say this: in my last serious relationship, it was both of us. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just me. It was both of us. It was both of us. And I'm the type of person where once I'm done with you, I'm not circling back. Whatever you did or whatever happened in that relationship at that time and place, that was that time and place. Moving forward, I'll speak to you. I don't have to badmouth them or discuss the relationship or anything like that. But it is what it is. That happened back then.
absolutely. And so, I never discount anyone's experience. And I know that your references are coming from things that you actually went through. And so I value and I understand that, right? And I do agree that to a large extent, you have to really deal with someone to find out certain things. Right. I disagree. I do disagree, though, that you have to deal with someone for an extended period of time to find out if they're broken. Right?
Well,
I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think even for me as a man, I say I'm dating myself and I'm married to God, right? That's what, so it's not like I'm not dating. It's just that there's things about me that I'm still developing that is unfair for me to bring into a relationship. And so as opposed to expecting a woman to deal with my development while she still has to process her development, I would prefer to date myself and develop me so that I can work on my patience in some areas, my temperament in different areas, and other inadequacies that I'm not satisfied with. So healthy men, I'm 35.
Okay. So I agree
and so
with you
let me finish this point, and then I'll jump to you, right? So healthy men will say, hey, I have an issue doing this. Like for me, for example, I had an issue with sex. So I said, I need to develop my discipline as a single man. I practice celibacy, not just because I'm a Christian, but because as a man, for me, it makes me feel weak. I can't control my own nature. How can I say I'm a king if I can't say no to my urges? I don't think I'm a king. So I practice disciplining myself, and I make sure that I don't lead anybody on or put my lack of development into a relationship to hurt you or hurt myself or lead you on and make you think I don't want anybody dating me for potential. And I think that what women do, a lot of times you make the mistake of dating us for potential that we have not committed to ourselves. And so when I say that you don't have to, you will know if I'm healthy or unhealthy through conversation with me. Right, whether we miles apart, and then through watching.
When do you plan to be developed that you're talking about?
Well, that's a good question, right? And so I can't necessarily put a time on it, right? But one of the things that I do is I make sure that my perspective of dating or relationship that is rooted in scripture, so that it's not based on just my past experience, but it's based on what God says about who I am and what he wants for me. Right. And that was the next thing I was going to kind of ask is I know that, and I've asked, you guys have different experiences, right? And one of the things I always say, Kristen, I say experience is the worst teacher. Because you deal with broken people, men and women, that you learn lessons you should have never learned, and then you develop philosophies that are not absolute truth. So you put limiting beliefs on different people and you reduce them to that experience and you recreate what you've gone through because you're learning from imperfection. Can't teach you perfection. Only perfection, God, can teach you perfection. Right. And so to keep it simple. So go ahead, Tom. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and so for me, you know, I believe, for example, that whatever, and you guys, I'm sure you all agree, whatever you believe is what you become, right? Like the Bible says, whatever a man or a woman thinks in his or her heart, so is he. So if I want the kind of, in the future, not today, but in the future, if I want the kind of wife that I envision, then today I have to, as a single man, I have to develop myself to become that kind of man that is deserving of what I want. It's not sufficient for me to play around, so to speak, and to compromise what I believe is true. And I don't believe that. I believe that who I am is what I will attract. I believe that who I am is what I will bring into my life. And
Okay.
I just believe that biblically, and then even people who don't subscribe to religion, they call it the law of attraction, and they have all these spiritual concepts for it. But going back right to you, Ty, my thought is when you was gonna say something, Kristen? I don't know. I thought you was gonna say something. Okay, so Ty, going back to you, when you said I want these things, I want this and I want that, right? My question to you is, and then you were honest too. You said, well, it's probably because of me. I probably certain ways. My thing is, if do you look to God, right? Or in your relationship with God, do you look to scripture, right? Or biblical principle to help shape your relationship philosophy or perspective?
No, if you want me to be honest with you, no, I haven't. And I just want to touch back on when you were saying that dating someone that is broken and being with them for an extended period of time and marrying them and nurturing them and all that. This is a way off, but the BTK killer was married to his wife for 40 plus years. That lady didn't know her husband was a serial killer. She found that out at the end. That man was broken. That man was nuts. Right. He held up a facade for all those years. So I'm just saying, people hold facades as long as they need to, or until they're exposed. So you could be with someone you could be married to someone for 10 or 15 years and find out that this person is a nutcase. Just one day it just happens. So I don't think there's an extended time that you can be with the person before you see the real them, before they come unzipped.
Okay. And that's a great point. And I agree largely with that perspective. Tammy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't think you can know like all the hidden things about a person, because everybody has demons and secrets that they want nobody to know about. But I also think when and I say we as women, when we're in the dating phase, getting to know people, getting to know a man, I don't think we ask the right questions. I think we ask some other questions that don't really matter. And then I think oftentimes too, there are red flags that we seem to, because they're so fine, or they got so much money and they got all these things going for them. I think oftentimes we look past those red flags, but then they come back up, and it's an even bigger red flag.
But
Tammy, we also ignore green flags. A lot of times green flags are out there to distract you from the red flags.
That's true.
That's a good point.
Not only that, but the more the I'm crazy. I'm just wearing
her server's hating on her now. It's hating.
Crazy.
Yeah, you froze up, Kristen. You had it sounded like you had some. I heard narcissist, and it sounded powerful.
Yeah, that's all I heard.
But nobody's wearing that title. That's not stamped across
If
somebody's head that I'm a narcissist or
Nobody
or
is
I
wearing
have-
a sign.
that says I have mental issues or
Yeah,
things of
nobody's
that
wearing-
nature.
Nobody is wearing a sign that says I am a narcissist. I'm crazy. I'm gonna beat you over the head with light. Nobody's saying that. You know, so it's
right. But I think, especially in an
honestly,
abusive
I have
case,
a
I think
friend
there are
that-
always red flags. Well, I can't say
Mhm.
always because I haven't been in every abusive relationship. I can't say that, but I think a person is just natural to something is going to show. You're going to see something, and your brain is going to be like, okay, there's something up with that. But oftentimes, generally
More crazy
speaking,
you
we're so
are, but-
attracted to a person, we look past it. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I've done that many times,
Mm-hmm.
and
You know
it
what?
always leads to destruction.
You know what, Tammy? I do believe that we have women have an intuition. And if it's one thing
Yeah.
that I've learned is to I trust my gut. If my gut tell me something is off about this, you need to stop communicating with this person and go on about your way. And I promise you, I've done that a couple of times and come to find out these were real. One of the men was he had lied about being married and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So and then it's just
so I have something to say about that. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
and I'm just saying,
So mine is lag keeps on. I keep interrupting people because it sounds like talking when I start. So I'm not intentionally interrupting. I'm sorry, Ty. Go.
We got it.
I was just saying, I feel like I think one of the other guest hosts stated that the men in the church are married or they may be in same-sex relationships, whatever. But my thing is, I run into a lot of men that are married and they tell me, oh no, I'm single, I'm this, I'm that. That pisses me off because you didn't give me the opportunity to decide if I wanted to deal with somebody's husband. You made that decision for me.
Right.
No, that's not funny. That is not funny
Right.
at all.
Right.
That's terrible.
deep.
That's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
That's
funny.
terrible.
And I don't feel like,
I have a question,
it has come to the
man.
You froze again.
but it's come to
Go
the
ahead,
point
Ty,
where
go.
you almost it's come to the point where you almost need to do a background check on guys, or vice versa, because nobody well, I'm not gonna say nobody, but there are people who just come out the gate being
Right.
untruthful. If you're married
Right.
and you're in a relationship, say that. Let that individual make the decision if they want to be part of your your adulterous life.
And before I comment on that, Ty, and I appreciate your contribution, but and I'm gonna refer back to that. Kristen, you wanted to insert something that was important.
Oh. Yes, I did want to say a couple of things about that. Number one, I with it about it's so wild to me that men have red flags and see them. I think it's so ironic that are still single get so much flack for that, because it's like, hey, what if we single because we see all those red flags, and then it comes back as being blamed for it. So can't keep a man, she must not know how to pick them. How we in that situation if number one and we choose not to deal with those people or to cut those people off, we're choosing to do that if she can't keep a man and you almost 40, in that situation.
These are all deep experiences, and that's why I'm listening patiently. And attentively, because you, as a woman, I can just imagine having to actually go through that and then be hurt by that and then have to make changes and adjust your reality is very challenging and it's very difficult. At the same time, you want companionship, you want partnership, you want relationship, right? But then you also have to guard and protect yourself, right? And so it's very difficult and challenging being a woman who I would imagine you desire to be vulnerable, but experience doesn't allow you to, right? And
Right.
then when you move forward and you try to give people a chance with one eye open, you like, Dad, like you really gonna do this? Like this is really like Ty, what you just said. You didn't give me the opportunity to determine if I wanted to date a married man. Like that wasn't, you didn't give me that chance, that choice. And so you know what I want to insert into this conversation is scripture that I use to guide my life and to establish not just me, but that I suggest right to other people. Because and Ty, that's why I asked you, you know, do you lean on God's word as a Christian? And if you're watching and you're not a Christian, or even if you're a guest on our show, you're not a Christian, then scripture is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And I don't believe you have to be. I don't try to force anybody into anything. But all of you on our show, you subscribe to Christianity. And
Yes.
so what happened? Because when you rely or you refer to God's word, he teaches you how to date. He teaches you what to look for. He teaches you how to engage or interact, to uncover or to find out who you're dealing with, and to protect yourself in the process. He even teaches you what kind of people to associate with, friendships, on every aspect, right? And what I want to I guess suggest to you ladies is you're not by yourself. See, if you have to depend on your own judgment to determine the right man, you're always going to end up with these type of experiences. And then I've been there too, right? Like dating women who I felt like needed me, and who I felt like, oh, okay, she stroked my ego. Oh, she loved that I'm smart. I got money. She telling me, I'm like, okay, I felt significant in those relationships, and I gravitated to that. And come to find out, they was either a narcissist or broken, and then I felt I've discovered I'm trying to change somebody. And there was a lot of experiences that I got cheated on in the past, right? So things happen that could have made me either be bitter or say, well, you know what? I'm going to try Spanish women, or I'm going to try white women. I'm going to try. But as a believer, I had to really sit down and say, you know what, God, like, okay, I take responsibility for the decisions and the choices that I made. And instead of me being bitter, teach me how to think like you so that I can love for real and attract the right type of love into my life. And that's what began to change for me, right? And so one of the scriptures that I think is important, right, is love. And I want you, let me see. And so I want to pull up on the screen something I think is very important, and it's John 13:34, right? Now, what happens is this is one of the things that changed for me, right? John 13:34, it says, I command you to love one another according to the way I, God, love you, right? Now, and I'll tell you what this means to me. It's very simple, but Ty, right? So if me and you were in a relationship in my past, I would have loved you according to what makes sense to me. So if I would judge and evaluate how I handle you in my relationship based on how you made me happy, I would love you according to my love language. If you couldn't meet my love language, then I would feel like you were either inadequate, incompetent. I might cheat. I might stay. Like what happened is I would basically love you the way I defined. And as I'm hearing, as women, as you express your experiences, you do it as well. Like, you know, men have to meet your standard of love, right? Even though love means something different to everybody. And then you are trying to love men as well. And men might not feel love because the way you love them is not the way they want to be loved. So what John means to me, when I'm now if we dated, Ty, then my attitude is I'm not going to love you according to how I define love, but God commands us that when we get into a relationship, I have to love the woman how God loves her. So it's two things. One, that makes me accountable to God in terms of how I treat you. And then two, I'm always thinking outside of myself, how can I meet that standard of love, not just what I think on my level? And what I'm looking for in a woman, I want a woman, because it's not just for men. I want a woman who can love me, not based on how she defines it for herself, but I, in the future, want a wife who is accountable to God and says, I'm going to love you the way God loves you or the way God loves me. Because my love is conditional. I'm a Scorpio. First of all, I could be spiteful, petty. I could be vengeful. I could be a lot of things if I get hurt, right? And I don't subscribe necessarily to zodiac signs. I see Chris like, I'm a Scorpio too. That's us. But what I'm saying is that I think one of the things is, as women, when you're looking for men, it's important. A sign that that would benefit you in looking for is a man who says, I have a relationship with God and I'm going to love you how he loves you.
So we need to be looking for him.
And that's a great question. That's a great question. And this is why I say you should, because you can't acquire and you can't have what you don't desire and what you're not looking for. Right. It's like, for example, if every goal in your life, if you say, I want to get a degree, you go after that. I want to make six figures. I've been making six figures since I was 22, right? I went after that, right? If you say, I want a house, I want this. I never understood why, even as women, it's sometimes as women, you have a pride about chasing material things, house, car, money, but it's like it makes you weak or negative if you chase the individual, or you search for the individual who you can enjoy the rest of your life with. I don't mean you chase a man and blow up his phone. I mean, it should be a goal like every other goal. I want a man that this, and I got my eyes open. That's something that I want, right? Like, I think that's important. Even with people subscribe as the law of attraction, right? You say, if you think about it and you talk about it, it'll come. So to your point, Ty, I do think that as a woman, it's important for you to have a clear goal that you set, that you speak into existence. You might put it on your vision board. I want a man that loves me like God, because then when you come, go ahead.
So we should do that Sierra prayer and get us a Russell Wilson then. That's what you're telling us.
Well, I think
Lord.
I wouldn't say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just really being funny. I understand what you're saying. I was being funny though.
But I respect it. No, I respect it. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's Sierra's prayer.
If God is gonna send me a Russell Wilson or a Master P, all that, I'm praying. I'm about to go deep into it.
But he is, though, and he wants to. And that's the thing. So watch this, right? When you look at Genesis 1:26, right? And this is the kind of man that you should desire. And I got 7 sisters, right? Like, so when the way I view and understand women, I look at every woman and I genuinely desire what's best for you. But this is what Genesis 1:26 says. It says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness and have dominion. So that means what you look for in a man is 3 things. Image means culture and attitude, right? So God says, the man that I have for you has my attitude and he has my culture. The second thing, he says likeness. Likeness means characteristics. He resembles me. He reminds you of me, right? So if you have like, for example, y'all have fathers, right? You got dads. Sometimes you meet me and you're like, Dad, you remind me of my dad. Like, you remind me of my uncle. You remind me. God says that you should desire a man that you could say, Dad, you remind me of God in some ways, right? Then the third thing, it says, and he has dominion. That means that having nothing to do with you, this man has begun to establish his life. He's a person of authority. He has power. He's influential. He has things that he's obviously has going for himself before you even meet him. See, men, especially broken men, we're very good at meeting women, using y'all to build us up, right? And you build us up, and then once we're established, we're gonna go find somebody who we feel like is more suitable. But what I would suggest is that you use this scripture. It's not even like super religious. You say, okay, God, there's 3 things. 1, you say he got to have your attitude and your character. 2, you say he has to remind me of you. And 3, he has to be established, right? Somebody who has authority and somebody who I can respect. A lot of times, from my experience as women, right, and from my conversations, you date men who you genuinely can't submit to and you really can't respect for real. From my experience, right, from conversations, it's like, okay, I really can't, and we haven't gotten it yet, submit. And this is the second thing, and then I'll let you guys go. The second thing is Genesis 2:15. And Genesis 2:15 says this. He says, and God took the man. That means the man of God, or the person that you should look for, has a relationship with God and he follows God. He says, and he put him in the Garden of Eden to work and take care of it. So the kind of man that I always suggest women should look for is a man who has a relationship with God, who is led by God, who's living in his purpose, active in his purpose, having nothing to do with you. And he's responsible. He's already demonstrated, I could take care of the house, I could take care of bills. Even if he got kids, I take care of my kids. See, healthy men love to display their maturity, their healthiness, how they're established, and what they have going on, having nothing to do with you, right? And so when I say that God can help you to identify the kind of person, it should be a believer, and he ain't got to be no preacher or I'm a rapper. I get fly. I got nice stuff. I don't look like no Southern Baptist preacher. However, I'm a person. I love God for real. I'm active in my purpose. I don't want to exploit women. I'm honest about my inadequacies. I say not right now because God is working on me and developing me, right? And I'm practicing, being responsible emotionally. So the kind of men that you need, they're already developed. You don't have to build them up. You don't have to experiment, and you can see from afar off that they are already established and they're available. So, Kristen.
Okay. I just want to speak for the single women that want to be married or have never been married before. If you are 35, you are a man of God. You try to be as like him as you can. You're making the kind of money that you would like. Why do you even think that there are evidence of men out there?
This is like it's a good question too. You froze again, but this is a good question.
I know.
So you froze, Kristen. I don't know if it delayed, but you can ask that question again because I really want to hear that.
Okay.
We can hear you.
You said yes.
Yes, it's we can hear you. We can hear you.
So I feel like all the things that you name.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh
I wanted to hear
man.
that question.
Me too.
You can tell it was good, right?
Dang it.
I know
She
we
built
all
it
like,
up.
look, we
She
all
built
on the
it
edge
up.
of our seats, like, come on with the question.
She built that thing up too.
So she right. She'll be back. So all I was saying, Ty. Oh, there you go. Go ahead, Kristen. Let's try again.
Come on,
Her
Kristen.
internet hating.
You need to get right by the Wi-Fi box.
You are 35 years old. All of those things.
Kristen, go sit by your Wi-Fi.
And you say you are saying you have all of that. You are not real. Kids down there, y'all will never hear me real.
Oh man.
Right.
I need to hear that
Type
question.
it in the chat.
We rooting for you.
Type it in the chat, Kristen.
Yeah, type it in the chat too, because I want to. And then when you type it, one of y'all can read it, because it her internet breaking up.
Oh, we got a chat. I didn't even know about it. Let me see. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we got a chat. It's at the bottom.
Oh man, we lost her again. Look like.
I think she's still on. She
Man,
like
that's
she's about to tell me.
whatever that question is. It's gonna be a good question.
I can tell, right? Like I don't even want to move on. But we'll continue to talk when her signal comes back. And so but and I'm not perfect. I'm just saying that there's a lot of men. Like for example, half of my friends are millionaires. I'm not a millionaire yet, but half of my friends are millionaires. And the majority of them are married. They believe in love. They're loyal. They don't believe in cheating, right? Like it's a lot of men that I know who take pride in honoring women and protecting them. I don't think it's a scarcity.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Come on with this good question.
Right.
It's not
Type
as
it in
good
the
as the
chat,
first time,
Kristen.
but I'll do that.
We listening too.
I'll type it in the chat. Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, and then Ty, you can when it pop up, Ty, you can read it for her because I want to hear this question.
Okay, because look, this question got me on the edge of my seat, Kristen. I think this gonna be the question that we need.
No, I agree. You know, and so all I'm injecting now. Let me ask you now, Tay. You know, Tay, when you hear about the kind of man that I'm suggesting that God wants for you, right, and that He lays it out and He says this is the model. How does that make you feel? What do you think about that, right? And you know, like just what's your thoughts when you hear that, and how does that impact you?
That I have to take accountability for myself, because when you were speaking earlier about love, I might not be fully committing myself to God. So I might not even be as open as I should be to that, to the man that God wants me to have. If I'm not fully committing myself to God, I might just be oblivious to it.
You know, and I think I'm not going to say that's true or false. I would say that that's mature to reflect and say maybe there's things that I can control that can change my experiences with dating, right? Like, and I do. Okay, so go ahead, Ty. There go the question, Ty. So you can read it for us.
Okay, so Kristen's question is, being that you are a 35-year-old financially stable, love God, and you are still saying that you are not fully together and ready for marriage, where do you think the men that are actually ready to marry and lead women are?
That's a great question.
And then it says there are literally like 7 men on the entire planet that have it all the way together.
And so, but that's a real question. I respect your question. And then she said one more. She said one more thing, Ty.
She said, "Who should single women marry and allow to lead them?" Kristen, that's a very that's the icing on the cake.
That's a powerful question, and I'll explain. Okay, so like right now, I'm not emotionally available. I'm not a liar and I don't cheat. I ain't perfect. I'm not emotionally available. And this is what I want women to understand about men. When a man is not established and successful according to his own definition, we might be physically and intimately available, but we're not happy within ourselves, so we're not truly emotionally available. So men, we know that. Women, I think you might discount the toll that dissatisfaction takes on us. Like if we're not living up to our own image, women, from my experience, you still accept us, you still love us, and we still engage in sex and relationship. But a man who is not living in his own image of as successful as he says that he wants to be, he's not emotionally available. The only difference, Kristen, is that I'm honest about it up front, and I say, hey, you might think I'm chocolate and attractive. You might say you have the type of character that I want. You might say you're financially. None of that might make me feel good, but it doesn't tempt me to be deceptive and say, well, maybe this could work. I'm not emotionally available, right? And when I say emotionally available, in my mind, when I am in a relationship, my woman is going to be the most important thing to me, more than my businesses, more than my money. Like, my wife is going to be the most important thing to me in my life, right? Because that's biblically, that is like Tammy said it earlier when she said that me and my husband are one. And that's scripture. So when you and your husband or you and your wife are one, you equal, right? Like for example, I'm the kind of man I feel like when I'm married, my wife is my equal, right? Like, I might be even physically, like, men and women are equally strong. Men are not stronger than women. The thing is, men, we're stronger than women from the waist up. Women, y'all stronger than men from the waist down, right? So we're equally strong in different ways, right? Men, we're smarter in certain areas. Women, you're smarter in certain areas. So I'm not looking to rule over someone when I'm ready. I want somebody I can value, I can respect, a go-getter, a hustler, somebody who can do better than me in many ways, that we're suitable and compatible. And if I had that right now, it would be a disservice, because emotionally, I don't have the patience right now for her. I don't have the discipline or the emotional patience right now to put her first. I got a vision, I got a mission. I'm trying to accomplish something having nothing to do with a woman. And so although I might be suitable in some ways, she will feel ignored, and I don't want to have to be in a relationship when I'm not emotionally attentive and available for a person I'm with. I'm just honest about that. Kristen, you was gonna say something? Or I mean not Kristen, Tammy. Tammy, you was gonna say something, Tammy?
Oh yeah. I do want to say something. I think it's fair to recognize also too that Keith is a go-getter, and he's making things happen. And not a lot of men are that go-getting type. And the reason I say that is because, there are a lot of men who are very secure in their jobs, but they're not out here trying to achieve a lot of money financially. And so some men are just looking for a woman who will submit to them, who is very feminine and loving, and this soft place that they can fall on because they've been working out there really hard, and they want to come home to this woman
Right.
who is just, not every man is looking for this go-getting type of woman. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of men who are looking for different things in a woman. And also, I wanted to say, when you're looking for a man, I think it's important to have discernment, because, like I was saying earlier, everybody has flaws, but there are big flaws that cannot be ignored. And there are also like these little things that, they can be looked over because you too have flaws, So I think it's just important to listen to that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, "Ooh, girl, you need to get out," or "It's not that bad."
Absolutely. And then to add to that point, Tammy, and then Kristen, you said it's like 7 men. It's like 7 men to every, 7 women to every man. I think you said, right? Oh, you said 7 men on the entire planet that have it all together. It's actually more than that. It's actually...
Okay, 8.
No,
but 8 is generous.
But this is deep, though. I'm going to show you something that's very important, right? And it is Genesis chapter 2, verse 22. And this is what it says. It says, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man, made he a woman, and he brought her unto the man. Right? So this is what God is saying. God said, if you trust me, if you focus on relationship with me, you don't have to worry about trying to sort a man out yourself. He says, I will connect you personally. See, as women, you are a gift. Gifts are presented to others. A gift does not present itself to others, right? So God is saying, just like Eve, he says, I developed her, I shaped her, I made her what she is. What that means for you as women is that don't allow your experiences to shape you. Don't allow the heartbreak to shape you. Don't allow the disappointments, the divorce, the betrayals to shape you. Yes, these are things that happen, but as a woman, God is expecting to for you to allow him to make you. And then when God makes you, he will take you to the person he wants you to be with. And that's what I'm doing, right? And I'm not saying that doesn't make me better. I just learned. And I understand.
In a good way. Those things did
Say it
shape me,
again.
but in a good way. Those things did shape me, but they shaped me in a good way. Because again, I have to remind you that right now I'm in the healthiest relationship that I've ever been in. So although, you know, we did say at the beginning of the conversation, you know, I have sex, not
Right.
being married, and
Right.
you know, I'm saying that to say that we all fall short. But I do want it to be like at the top of all of these things. I want it to be, I did actually use all of those things to find a healthy relationship where I do feel safe and I do feel all of the things that I'm supposed to feel. Just I have the questions of, hey, if you have these things, that's a lot more than a lot of men have that are single, that are anywhere near my age right now. So single women that do desire to be married, the pickings are slim.
They're very slim.
Yeah,
And
they are.
I think that it is they got a lot more. They asking of the type. I'm comfortable.
Uh-oh.
That's why I'm able to do something healthy, because if that
No, it does. And you was breaking up a little bit, but I was following you, right? And I process and I understand that. I would say in the day and age that we are motivated. Somebody said social media. I think that was you, Tim. He was like, so it's like men, it's like twerking. It's like you scroll down the timeline. There's so many opportunities to be whatever we want to be. And so I do understand that. I just don't think that it's as scarce as you think, Kristen, right? You know, I think that I think prosperity. I think prosperity, right? I think what, you know, I think if you trust God and you're already in your relationship, so I you know, and that doesn't even mean it's going to last. I appreciate and I respect that you're in it. You said I feel safe and all these other things. All I'm suggesting, right, is that if we incorporate not just religion into our relationship, because religion don't work. It don't work, right? Religion is dead for real. But if we incorporate, like I take my relationship serious, I submit to God the way that I think a woman later should submit to me. And I don't want to argue over it. I want to demonstrate through my lifestyle and my behavior that I'm deserving and are qualified to lead you. And look at my life, not look at my potential.
Yeah.
Look at how I live. Look at my relationships around me. Look at my schedule. Look at what I'm doing. And you let me know. And that's my mentality, right? And I think that even from this podcast, right? I think as women, because men, we ultimately are influenced by women. I think women, you have the power to set the standard. Like if all women say, we only accept in this kind of man that does this and that, and there's no exceptions, men would rise to the occasion, right? So because you really, we really want y'all. We do everything for y'all, right? Like if you remove women off the face of the earth, most men, we not gonna get dressed. We ain't gonna get no shape up. We don't care about nothing. Because why are we doing this for? So you women, you are our main motivation, right? And you do set the standard. It's that some of us are underdeveloped, and we're going to take what you give us, right? If you sleep with us, if you're going to be a wifey to us without an actual covenant or actual commitment, we're going to take that because we need that right now. But if you raise the bar, we're going we're going to meet that. We're going to meet you there. And that's what I wanted to create with this dynamic. I wanted to listen to you as women, not to judge you, not to try to change you, right? Not to, but just to create a culture where we can talk to each other and be comfortable with one another and demonstrate to other people love, black love, communication, understanding, listening. Ty, though, I got a question for you, Ty, right?
Okay.
You know, and my question for you, right, is at 41, right? And you saying, listen, this is what I want, right? This is what I need, right? Like if I told you today that God knows exactly what you want, exactly what you need, and he has a person that he's already developing specifically for you, would you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, but I want to say this. Marriage, I'm not against marriage. My parents were married up until my dad passed in 2020. Okay, so I come from a 2-parent household. I've seen a healthy marriage. I think that marriage is God's one of God's greatest covenants. I believe in I believe in unity. I do. But for me, marriage is not at the top of my list. It's not at the top of my list. If I never get married, I do believe I'm okay with that. If I get married, I'm okay with that too. Whatever
Absolutely.
God has in store for me along the lines of marriage, I'm okay with that. So again, if I never marry, I'm okay with that. I have family members that have never they never married. They died single women or a single man. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I get this a lot.
Absolutely.
But you came from a 2-parent household. You've seen your mom and dad married. Uh-huh. And I had a baby out of wedlock. Okay, so what? And
right.
and I didn't marry his dad. It didn't work for
Absolutely.
us. I've dated several guys since then. Didn't work with them. I mean, it's life. And
Absolutely.
I accept life as it is, and I'm not going to change who I am just to get married.
Absolutely. And to add and to demonstrate that I support that thought process wholeheartedly, Jesus wasn't married. It's so many people who just wasn't married, right?
Right.
And there's so much to accomplish outside of relationship, right? It's so much to do outside of just marriage. So I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to force that thought on you. All I'm saying is that if whatever it is that you want and desire, then claim it, whatever it is. If you say, I want my doctor's degree, claim that. And this is what I want for me. You can't accomplish any goal. If you say, you know what, if I get my degree, if not, I mean, I'm good either way.
Keith,
in most cases, that means you're not going to commit wholeheartedly. Right.
Keith, I want to say this. I want to say this. I'm rooted in the Word of God. I am. But again, the flesh is weak. So I sin just like everybody else. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat. I do too. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. Right. I'm me. I can sometimes be what people call a female dog if you catch me on the wrong day. That's just part of my personality. Although that's something that I've curved and I've worked on, and I'm much better at not being that. But But again, I am a person that believes that God will give me the desires of my heart. And the desire of my heart is not to be married at this very moment. Not to say that 6 months down the road, I may not, I may have the desire to marry. I'm not saying that, but right now the desire of my heart is not to be married. I have other things that I'm focusing on that to me that are more important.
And I respect that.
But I do believe that God has someone out there fit for me that can handle my personality, that has the wants and desires that I want in what I would consider the perfect man for me.
Absolutely. No, and I respect that. And
so
that
are you also emotionally
I am emotionally unavailable right now. I'm just honest. I'm gonna be honest about that. I am emotionally unavailable right now.
That was a good question.
I think that's okay. I think
that's okay. You're right.
I think you're giving yourself grace.
Right.
What I do,
you're just giving yourself grace to be who you are.
What I have learned over the past, I'm gonna say 13 years is I am who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever likes me is gonna like me. Whoever loves me is gonna love me. Whoever dislikes me is gonna dislike me. At the end of that dislike, love, and like, I'm still gonna be me. And I've just learned to be my authentic, true self, and be very transparent, because I don't want to put up a facade that I'm this perfect person and this and that and this and that. No, there are other things that are way more important to me than being tied down to a relationship right now. I'm very, very open and transparent about things like that. I don't want to waste anyone's time, so I'm very open. Now, a couple of years ago, I was in a relationship, and I shouldn't have been in that relationship, because emotionally I wasn't there for that relationship. It was just, hey, I've been single for a while, let me try this.
Right. No, and I respect that. I respect that, and I think that as not just women and men, we have to practice that honesty and transparency more. And it's very hard being honest, but I do respect you sharing, and I value your input. And Kristen, that was a good question. Would you say that you're not able? That was a very good question. And that's dope, right? And so, ladies, this was a powerful platform, a great experience. We recorded it. It's going to be on all social media platforms. It's going to be available on audio on all streaming platforms as well. Next week, go ahead,
Keith. There's a gentleman in the chat. I think it's a gentleman. But he's saying he stated that, I guess it's to me, that you can't say you don't want something and say you may want it down the line. Yes, I just want to answer this question. Yes, okay. I can. At this very moment, if I feel that I'm not in an emotional headspace to where I can be in a nurturing relationship and have a positive relationship, then that's what it is.
Right.
And if 6 months down the line, I feel like now I'm in a better headspace and maybe I should, try a relationship, then that's me.
Right.
That's me. No. So I can want something today. I mean, not want something today and want it tomorrow.
And I agree. I understand what he was saying, right? At the same time,
it's a double standard, because Keith, it's a double standard because Keith, essentially y'all are saying the same thing. You both are emotionally unavailable, but it's acceptable for Keith, but not for you.
Well, I'm saying it's acceptable for her. And what I'm saying is, not only is it acceptable, I think men should be lucky that she's honest up front.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
Because she could not say that and then walk you where you don't want to go. Right. So you have to value. Listen, when a person is honest, their honesty is greater than the other liability, if there is liability. When you honest, people could deal with you. I always say, listen, if you honest up front, people they will accept what's wrong with you because that's who they met. So the best time to tell the truth is in the beginning. That way they can accept you. So I value your honesty more than or someone else might say you're indecisive or probably hurting or whatever they might label. I think your honesty is more important than whatever another label that somebody might put on you. And I'm not just saying that. You could trust an honest person. A person who don't tell the truth, you don't know what you got. So I value that for real.
And I've seen people, and this is unfortunate, but I've seen people be in relationships and then someone is not there emotionally, and it's the biggest hee-haw fallout ever. Mm-hmm. And this person is hurt and this and that. I'm just not a person where I want to intentionally hurt someone. So I'd rather just say, hey, I'm not available right now to be in a relationship, but we can date. Because if me dating you is a date, we're not in a, I'm not your girl, you're not my dude. Yeah, we can go out to eat, we can go have a drink, we can hang out, and maybe it will turn into something. But I'm honest. I'll tell them at this very moment, I don't want to be in a relationship at this very moment. again, that could change this summer. I might go on a foreign trip and find, somebody that I think is that guy. You just,
Okay,
You
Stella.
never know.
And so, listen, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm just, the point that I'm speaking from is that whatever it is that you truly desire, you will only ever have it when you focus on it and you determine that I must have it, right? And so if you're saying I don't want that, is nothing wrong with that. If you're saying this is all I want, that's exactly what you're going to get. So
Right.
what the person in the chat was saying, maybe he didn't articulate it this way, but what I believe he maybe was trying to say was, you're not going to get what you say you're uncertain about. And that's not just with the perfect person for you. That's with money, goals, dreams, accomplishments, including relationship, right? And so we essentially get to attract our experience, right? Definite serious people attract serious people. People who are uncertain attract uncertain people. Like, we attract who we are, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. And nobody should isolate you or try to judge you or label you because of your honesty and because you know exactly what you want. I respect that, and I think that's huge.
So, look, I'm in the chat. I probably should get out because I want to answer these people's questions. But someone just said to the ones that don't want a relationship, do y'all still date? Yes, I date. I date several people. Why? Because I am technically a single woman, not tied up in a relationship. So yes,
Right.
I date.
There y'all go.
And I just want to clear this up. There's no uncertainty about where I am in my life.
Yes,
Okay.
she was
Especially
never.
when
She
it
never
comes to
sounded like she was uncertain. She sounded like, hey, now I want to pickle pig. Tomorrow I might want pickled pig's feet, and that's her to decide whether or not she want pickled pig's feet today,
right.
months in the future, this summer.
You breaking up again.
Oh man, Kristen breaking
I
up.
know, right?
Type it, Kristen. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, Kristen.
I think I understand both sides. I understand both sides because it sounds like
Tammy, and to your point, Tammy,
but
there's
you
no
know what?
right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's not
right.
right or
It's
wrong.
no wrong. It's just a
Both
matter
are
of
true.
perspective.
Both are true.
Opinion. Right.
And Keith, on another
Because
note,
you're living your truth, Ty. You are where you are.
And on another note, my closest friends are married, have been married, or whatever. And when they're married, I'm all for it. I understand you're married. You can't be running the street with me because I am single. Okay. And I do single woman things. Okay.
Right.
But if you're single or you're divorced or whatever, then hey, whatever, we're friends. Let's go do our single girl things. I respect the unity of marriage. I realize that my married friends can't run the street like I can. And not only that, plus I have an adult child, and some, a lot of my friends' kids are a lot younger than my child.
Right.
So I don't want anyone to think that I don't respect the unity of marriage, because I do wholeheartedly. I do wholeheartedly. I'm for marriage. It's just that I know that right now I can't. I can't be married right now. Not at this moment in my life. It's
disrespect Ty's honesty. Put some respect on Ty's name.
Absolutely. No, so this was good. I really want to continue, but we're 2 hours in, right?
Yes,
right?
we are.
And I would like to have, if you want, I would like to invite you ladies back. Next week we have like an all male panel. And so we're going to get the men's perspective on different topics. I hope you guys tune in as well. And so, but listen, I value every last one of you guys. I want to stay connected with you. We actually started a women's empowerment network and a women's empowerment team to help women entrepreneurship, to help women financially, to help, to not just promote your businesses, but just women healthiness. We have an app, a Date to Marry app. It's $100,000 app that we're developing, and it's a dating service to help find the person you're compatible with or who's for you. I have a book that you guys can pre-order now. It is called How to Date to Marry. It is available on my website. So pre-order the book. I also have my first book, Does God Want Me to Be Rich, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart. So you can go grab that as well. And I'll sign a copy for you guys. And so listen, ladies, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully one of the goals is I wanted you to see just masculine representation from a different perspective. Some of us listen, we appreciate you, we value you. I know a lot of men that's developed, right? So Kristen, when you was like, it's a lot. I got a lot of friends who are healthy and that are established, right? So, but we also started a men's empowerment organization because we wanted to help motivate and develop more independent leaders to share some of our philosophies. And so visit my website, www.mainstreamdigitalnetwork.com/D2M. If you want to join our women's empowerment team, pre-order my book, How to Date to Marry, get involved with what we're doing, because we're looking to motivate, empower, and inspire women all over the world. Ladies, we thank you so much for tuning in. And if you want, please email us questions to ask the men, right? Because I see that in the comments, right? Talking to y'all, right? But email us questions. Y'all got to get on as men. Like, I thought I really wanted y'all to be harder on me, right? I'm like, y'all gotta ask me some questions, right? I did, but it's all love. I value every last one of you individually, and then collectively. Black women are beautiful, right? I respect you guys tremendously, and we will continue to converse healthy, learn to listen and love each other, not label or judge each other, be honest and transparent. If we could do that in all Black relationships, we will be so powerful, and one day it will happen. That's God's will for us. Listen, I appreciate you guys. If you're tuning in, share, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate your support, your donations, your contribution. Take care. God bless. Signing out. Keith Scurry, Date to Marry. See you guys next Thursday with all the fellas. Take care. All right.
Bye.